I was laid to rest in a ship, on foreign soil, far from the home of my fathers. You call me VK508, a number scratched into catalogues, but in life I was more than bone and ash. I was a warrior of rank, a sworn companion, and one of 40 men who died together and were buried together in the sand of Saaremaa. I was not the commander of our expedition. That honor belonged to the man you now call VK504, buried close to me near the mast. But I was his shield brother, bound to him by oath, by blood spilled in training and in battle. When he stood, I stood. When he fought, I fought. And when we fell together. Our ship had sailed from Sweden, perhaps the Malaran Valley, where the sphere built halls and raised mounds. We carried fine weapons, swords with pattern-welded blades, shields rimmed with iron, spears with deadly points. We bore belts with ornate fittings, gaming pieces carved from bone and ivory, combs to keep our hair neat, and dogs and hawks that followed us even into death. We were no rabble. We were an elite retinue, trained, disciplined, and proud. But pride could not save us. On Saaremaa, our enemies were waiting. Perhaps we came to raid, perhaps to negotiate, perhaps to stake claim, but steel was drawn and blood was spilled. I remember the clash of shields, the sharp sting of arrows, the fury of battle in the Baltic air. I do not remember how I fell, only that I awoke in silence, my body carried ashore. Yet even in death we were honored. Our ships were drawn onto the beach and turned into tombs. We were laid in rows, our weapons by our sides, our animals sacrificed to follow us. I was placed beside my leader, VK504, as I had stood beside him in life. To be buried with him was no dishonor, it was the highest honor. Centuries passed before you found us. You uncovered our bones and called us by numbers, VK504 and VK508. But you saw the truth in our arrangement, in our goods, in the wounds cut into our skeletons. You understood that we were warriors, elite men of Scandinavia, buried abroad with care. You studied my DNA, and it told you what my people already knew. We were of the North. My ancestors carried lineages like R1A and I1, common among my kin, though others in my warband may have carried R1B, the line you trace as RM467. Among our women, and in our mothers before them, were haplogroups like U4, kin to yours as U4A1B. So though we did not know one another in life, your blood carries whispers of mine, threads of continuity woven across 1,000 winters. Think of me not just as a skeleton in a ship, but as I was, a warrior rowing in rhythm, sweat on my brow as the sail filled with wind, a man in the shield wall, axe raised, voice hoarse with battle cries, a friend at a feast, throwing dice across a game board, laughing as mead splashed from the cup. And finally, a body laid with care, surrounded by my brothers, facing the horizon we would never reach. You remember me now as VK508. But remember also that I was more, a sworn companion, a trusted fighter, a man whose life and death stood at the threshold of the Viking age.